Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Could nickel be the next silver? Let's explore! Nickel is a metal that has made headlines as of late. You remember the nickel market shut down for quite a while, and now they're open back up again, but nickel is still trading at record highs. In fact, far exceeding other base metals, trading at a range of about $14 to $15 a pound. The next highest would be copper, but nickel certainly is in demand for a lot of different reasons. In fact, if you look over here on eBay, we can see all different kinds of prices for nickel. Everything from a lot of Canadian nickel cents to nickel bullion bars that are going for where silver used to be just a couple of years ago. It's pretty fascinating to see. Of course, we've also starting to see nickel in bullion form from some of the major bullion dealers out there. You remember the video that I did on nickel before where I showed some of my nickel rounds. I'm glad I held on to those because they're hard to come by, especially at a decent price. One thing we do know about nickel is it has garnered the attention of the world, especially with war and other things going on and inflation and supply chain issues. We know that nickel is going to probably stay up in price and be very much in demand in the near future. In fact, we even have a directive from the President of the United States authorizing the use of the Defense Production Act to secure American production of critical materials to bolster our clean energy economy. And what is in this list of minerals to use for large capacity batteries such as lithium? Nickel. Second on the list is nickel, indeed. So it's going to definitely be needed in this new age that we are living in, especially with what we're seeing going on around the world. And this leads us to the sponsored portion of our video. We're going to be talking about EV nickel. And this is one way to get exposure to the nickel market other than getting a bullion bar, which I actually would encourage people to get a little bit of physical nickel. People are already saving their nickels, their 5-cent pieces, which has only 25% nickel. The rest are copper, but combined those metals together are worth more than 5 cents. So it is quite intriguing to see. But if you have nickel bullion or some that you've gotten before the prices went up, hey, you're doing pretty good. My nickel stack is doing okay these days. I may do a full nickel stack video. But again, we're talking about other ways to get exposure as well too, because if you do buy nickel from eBay or what have you, or even from the bullion dealers in physical form, you definitely are going to be paying a very high premium for sure. But as is the case with other precious metals and other commodities, there are ways to invest in the mining sector, and that's what this video is about. This video is sponsored by EV Nickel, and I will put a link to the website below. EV Nickel is exploring and advancing the next generation of high-grade, clean nickel projects to deliver the metal needed to power the electrical vehicle revolution. And this is quite exciting what they're involved in here, especially with their Langmuir project here in the Shaw Dome. And we can see here that some of the details and information on that property here that's shaped like a wide J there. Fascinating, and how they are already doing some exploration in that area. And you can see the statistics that are listed there. But let's talk a little bit about what kind of nickel they're looking for. High grade, high nickel grade. And this is what they're looking for. The 1% grade initial resource contains this high-grade nickel close to the surface. It has almost 9,100 hectares with 30 kilometers of strike and open at depth. So there's a lot of potential there. And easy access to Timmins, an established mining camp, plus clean hydropower. Location is everything. Being close to infrastructure is key with projects like this. And so they already have this timeline that they have already met through these areas from discovery of the W4 deposit all the way through the geophysics phase in May of last year. And then they've started some drilling towards the late summer through the summer of last year, and testing earlier this year, and moving ahead. So what is this clean nickel here? Zero carbon production of nickel, and has applied for the trademark clean nickel across several jurisdictions. So this clean nickel refers to zero carbon production, and this is central to the business that EV Nickel intends to develop on the Shaw Dome. And here we can see the electric vehicle growth that we've seen over the course of time here, with electric vehicles replacing internal combustion engines is well underway. You see more and more electric vehicles on the road. I'm seeing more Teslas today than ever before, and even other fully electric vehicles. Current BEV manufacturers being Tesla, XPeng, Rivian, NIO, and others here. And so we can see that in 2018, GM produced 2 electric vehicles within 18 months. And then in 2020, we had the Jaguar and Rover electrifies its entire new lineup. And just after Volvo did, with all new Volvo models will be electric or hybrid. And Daimler Chrysler produces 50 electric and hybrid models in 2022. And we can see, again, Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi. It just keeps adding up here with all the different manufacturers, auto manufacturers producing electric vehicles out there. So we know that the growth is going to continue to rise through 2040. Here we can see EV sales versus the shares of new car sales, and it is skyrocketing, upwards trajectory. This is where the future is headed for EV battery research. It focuses on the battery chemistry with different metal mixes, trying to optimize the balance of the range charge, recharge speed, and the life of the battery. That's pretty crucial. There's still some ways to go here, but across these 3 metrics, nickel performs very well and remains central to battery metals. So that's not slowing down anytime soon. That's going to be the foundation for battery technology as it's improved. So this is an interesting chart that shows the value of battery metals in electric vehicles sold globally. Some fascinating information. We can see that nickel is by far the most value there. This is fascinating. Not all nickel is created equal. Nickel class 1 are the sulfides in a group of nickel products comprising of electrolyte nickel, powders and briquettes, as well as carbonyl nickel. Nickel class 2 are less pure and comprised of nickel pig iron, a version of nickel created using low-grade laterite ores, and ferronickel. These nickel products have a lower nickel content and are used especially in stainless steel production, where stainless steel producers take advantage of the iron content. There is also a form of nickel babbitt, which I actually got at a coin show, believe it or not, thinking it was more pure nickel. It was actually probably much lower class graded nickel. It's got lead in it. It's dirty. The nickel required for EV batteries requires very tight tolerances, and only nickel class 1 is currently economic for EV batteries. Class 1 sulfides are found in Canada, Russia, and South Africa. Class 2, laterite type or oxide type resources are found in Indonesia, the Philippines, Brazil, Cuba, and New Caledonia. So 9 countries account for 75% of the global nickel reserves. The new EV demand for these nickel requires sulfide plus consideration for the broader impact of the metal being produced. Pressures on the EV manufacturers forces them to consider more than just quality and cost, but also the footprint of what they are buying. This will develop the next class of nickel, which is known as clean nickel. And this is where EV&I comes in. EV Nickel believes the market will be short of nickel sulfide for the planned EV demand growth and wants to be positioned to produce clean nickel, which involves the mining, processing, and the transport. And they've already have looked through all of these things here and planned ahead for this. Clean nickel also includes a broader commitment to partnering with stakeholders, and this process has already begun, especially with the local First Nations who have been actively consulted and engaged before the drill program has begun there. And they have a very strong management team here that behind all of this, including Sean Sampson, who is the CEO, President, and Director, Travis Greengrass, who is a Chief Financial Officer, and Paul Davis, who is a Vice President of Exploration. You can look through all those profiles at your leisure and as well as their directors and the like. The bottom line is finding out why. Why should you consider investing with EV Nickel? It's a great opportunity to participate in the electric vehicle boom through a top quality pick and shovel style investment. And so they are there to accelerate the transition to clean energy. And they're going to be focusing on 3 things in this challenge here. And that is to find more nickel in Langmuir, which is on the Shaw Dome project, and secure more land in the Shaw Dome project area, and create a clean nickel business. That is their efforts there. Certainly, they've been active, as you can tell by their news here in the latest news section of the website. And they also have a good presentation that you can look through that goes through a lot of these specifications in much greater detail. Now, I'm going to post a link to this and you can explore it on your own. And also, feel free to contact them too with any questions you may have. They're out of Canada. Again, because this is mining exploration and like and what they're doing with nickel, be sure to really look in and dig into this. There's a lot of specific details in their presentation, but certainly consider all of the options and resources, and do your own due diligence and research. Investing in a company does involve some risk. Understand that risk before you invest, but nonetheless, there is some good background here and a good solid foundation with EV Nickel, because they have no debt and they have a market cap of $8.2 million and plenty of cash on hand. And that is a good foundation for success in a company like this. Again, do your own research, and I hope you found this video insightful. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.